Welcome to the Keep Your Cool Mama podcast, where it's all about you, Mama. I am your host, Sheilah. I am here to help the busy, overwhelmed mom reclaim her sanity, balance motherhood, her self care, and to unapologetically grow. I am so happy you are here and hope you plan to stay a while. Kick your feet up, sit back, relax, so we can focus on you. Let's go, cool mama. Hey, cool mamas. This is Sheila, and you are listening to episode 42 of the Keep Your Cool Mama podcast. What is going on, ladies? I hope that everything is going well for you, and I hope that you're feeling good from the inside out today. Since you've become a mom, do you ever have the feeling of frustration come over you because you can't put as much time as you would like into the things that you want to do just for you? If you answered yes, I feel you, girl. It's honestly more of a struggle for me than I would like to admit. I want to believe that I can put all of my energy into being a good mom and also put that energy into myself. But the reality is, I am only one person. What I do know is that I am not willing to minimize the consistent and intentional effort that I put into being there for my children. My children are at the ages where they need all of my attention. But I do also know that completely ignoring my own needs and desires is also out of the question. So I had to come to a place where I could do both, even if that meant I had to reinvent how my effort towards my needs and desires looked. I started realizing the power of doing the little things with the time I did have. The little time I had given towards my self work started to gradually make big changes in my life. This has made me aware that there is always time for me. Even if it's not all the time in the world, it's still time and effort that counts. Today, I want to talk to you about making the little time that you have for yourself count. If you listened to last week's episode, A Mom's Commitment to Herself, and you thought to yourself, Sheila, I barely have time to even think about myself, let alone staying committed to myself, this episode is for you. Contrary to popular belief, moms can make their time work for them. It just takes some evaluating, brainstorming, and planning. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's worth it. When you consistently show up for yourself, even in the smallest ways, you will start to notice the value that the little amounts of time spent has added to your life. I recently changed my work schedule so that I can work 4 hours on Friday. I get off early in the afternoon while the boys are at school, a couple of hours before they get out. I use this small gap of time in between when I get off work and when the kids get home just for me. I take my virtual therapy appointments during that time. Sometimes I may watch a little TV. A lot of times I will record my podcast episodes. I take a nap. I pretty much do anything I want that is just for Sheila. I purposely changed my schedule just for me. Like, that's it. It wasn't for anybody else but me. I needed more time to myself, by myself. I now look forward to having this personal time every single Friday. It's given me a small yet impactful break. That little time each week continues to add more value to my life as the weeks go by. Making this slight change has made me feel valued by me. It has made me feel like I matter. And this is not because of what someone else has done for me. It is because I recognized the need for more me time and I did something about it. Instead of ignoring my needs like I have done so many times in the past. This example brings me to this point that I want you to apply to your own life if you are struggling to find time for yourself. Make your time work for you. I'm going to say it one more time just to make sure you heard me. Make your time work for you. While I do understand that there are just some things that we are unable to shift or change at this time because our children need those things for their own care. I get that. But I still want to challenge you to take a look at your own life and examine it to determine what areas have room to change and shift that will give you even just a little bit of time to focus on you. I know it can be frustrating when you can't do things exactly the way that you want to do it. And if that is true for you, I want you to do your very best to change your perspective and be open to doing what you can when you can. I promise that this small shift in perspective, time, and effort will gradually bring you some peace and joy in the areas that you need it the most. What I've learned is that gradual change sticks. Gradual change sticks. So use that little gradual time to let these changes stick to your life, to give you the joy and the peace that you desire just for you. I want to provide you with 3 tips that I believe will help you to use the little time that you have to be there for yourself in a big way. Number 1, think outside of the box. When it comes to making the most of the little time that you have as a busy mom, it is so important for you to think outside of the norm. If you are a mom, for instance, who is with her children most of the time, like you're not able to get much child care, like if it's outside of daycare, like in the evenings and things like that, and you're just not able to take time away outside of your home by yourself often, consider using the time that you have while your child is at home with you. For instance, use the time your child is sleeping, watching television, reading a book silently, or playing to do something just for you. Whatever that is. Maybe you can read a book silently together. That activity is time spent together, as well as you nourishing your own mind and soul. You're just simply using this time your child is doing their own thing to do something just for you as well. This is a good example of using the time you have and making it work for you. Number 2, schedule your day hour by hour. I know this sounds like a tall task, but it works. I've done it a lot of times and it does work for me, and it's something that I am actually getting back into now. I got myself a daily planner that you can break your days down into hours, and it helps. Doing this will give you a visual overview of what is happening in your life. And by seeing your days in writing, you are able to then determine what can be shifted to help you make room for what you would like to do just for you. I think as moms, we tend to often say, I have no extra time for myself. However, I believe that if we are fully aware of what we are saying yes to and why, we will oftentimes realize that There are some things in our lives that we could say no to that will open up some space and time in our schedules. By scheduling our days, hour by hour, for instance, we are then more cognizant of the time that we may also be spending, wasting, doing things that are not nourishing to us. We have to be intentional about the time we are spending so that we are not leaving our own needs and wants out of the picture. Number 3, instead of focusing on what you can't do, focus on what you can do. This one has been a game changer for me. My mindset sometimes can be set on the all or nothing at all way of thinking. And I have to snap myself out of that zone quickly so that I can be mindful of what is possible. I know that we can't put as much time as we used to into the things that we love to do before we had children. But maybe there's a way to do it on a different scale now that your life looks different being a mom. For example, if you love to read but not able to spend hours reading like you want, consider changing your goal to reading 2 to 5 pages a night before you go to bed. I know it sounds like a little, but that is way better than not reading at all if you enjoy it and it brings you joy. A little bit goes a long way. Or maybe you used to exercise for 45 minutes to an hour, but you just don't have that kind of time anymore right now. So instead of not working out at all, change your goal and minimize the time you are exercising to what works for you now. And maybe you'll be able to revisit exercising longer in the future. There was a time when I was going to the gym with my one of my best friends during the week, and this was being done in the evenings after work. I was running myself ragged. I was trying to cook dinner before I left. I was making sure my boys were caught up on homework, and just prepare for the next day. I decided that did not work for my lifestyle because too much time was being taken away from my home life and I didn't have energy. Like I was exercising, but I didn't have energy because I was trying to do so much to make it work. But it just didn't work for me anymore. So currently, I figured out what works for me. Currently, I am now working out in the mornings for 20 minutes before I take my sons to school and before I start work. The 20 minutes work for me because, as you know, when you're a mom and you're trying to get kids ready for school, especially if you have little kids, or telling your teenagers to hurry up, do this, do that, like, make sure you're staying on task and things like that. Every minute counts. And at first I was doing 30 minutes and 30 minutes wasn't working. So I started doing 20 minutes. And my goal is always to wake up 30 minutes before my sons wake up. And I spend that time taking care of me. Every minute counts. No, I'm not at the gym like I used to be, but I found a way to make it work for my current lifestyle. That little time each day, it has made a positive impact on my physical and mental health. It adds up. 20 minutes a day. So I hope that after this episode, you are empowered to make your time work for you. I want you to remember that it is possible to make your time work for you. I know sometimes it seems impossible. I know like all of the responsibilities that you have just feel so overwhelming. And it just feels like adding anything else to that would be an inconvenience. But when you use the time that you have to take care of yourself, it makes everything else lighter. When you give yourself attention and you put energy into you, it just spreads out into all of the other areas in your life. So, when it feels impossible, I want you to remember that it is possible. It just takes a perspective shift, time, effort. You could do it. Carve out time each and every day just for you. You got this. I believe in you, and I know that you can make it work. So, I want you to do me a favor if you can. Please share this episode with any other mom that you think needs to hear this message about making her time work for her. Let's spread the word that it is possible. And if you are enjoying the Keep Your Cool Mama podcast, please do me a favor. Rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts or any other whatever way that you are listening to this podcast. If you are able to rate it there, please rate it. And please leave a review if you are able to. Subscribe and all of those good things. And I would love to hear what you are thinking about the episodes. Would love to hear from you. As always, I want you to remember that you are loved, you are beautiful, and you are enough. Until next time, remember to keep your cool, mama. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.